this is all about not all Etch-a-Sketch rotations are isometries. So the first thing that we need to look at is our definition of a rotation. So our definition of a rotation that we came to include is that it is to move an object, a shape, or a point from a fixed point a certain number of degrees, or a percentage of the circle is our other way of describing what a degree is, or what it is looking at is the circumference of the circle, and a degree is a measure of what percent of that outer circle we are looking at. So now that we know that a basic rotation is, so if we take this point here and we rotate it 90 degrees, we end up here, another 90, around and around. And this is our standard rotation, not an Etch-a-Sketch. So it is an isometry because it remains the same and the distances remain equal. However, when we look at isometries for rotations in Etch-a-Sketch, they're not always going to be the same. When we look at these two circles that we made here, we are going to look at the distance between this box here, which is at 0, 2. So here this is distance of 2, and then 4, 0. So this distance here is 4. Now we need to add those together, and we find our initial distance, because we want to preserve that distance, because if we perform a rotation, they should be the same. They should remain the same if we move them the same amount of degrees. So our initial distance would be 6. Now, if we perform a rotation of 1/8 rotation, then we would then be moving about halfway, we know, in between each of our circles, which would then, based on our definition of knowing how to move and find our Etch-a-Sketch distances, so then we know that this point moves then to 2, 2, and this one would move to -1, 1. Now, our distance, as you can see, has not been preserved, because the distance between these 2 points is now 4 instead of our initial, which was 6. So we can conclude that not all rotations are isometries in Etch-a-Sketch geometry, because the distance is not preserved. Thanks, Brett. Have a great night.